Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here at Game from Scratch, and yeah, this might be the announcement of the year, and I'm not even being hyperbolic. This is staggering, and you got to admit, Epic Games have been killing it lately, especially with that whole acquiring Quixel and giving away mega scans for their developers, and then their monthly giveaways and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of goodwill coming out of Epic Games for Unreal Engine developers, and today's announcement, it trumps all of that. Let me put it this way. Today's announcement is actually 3 announcements, and the first one is they're giving the first look at Unreal Engine 5. We're getting some details of what Unreal Engine 5 is all about, and frankly, that's not today's big news. So today's big news is big, huge news, and that is, I'm going to scroll down, don't worry, we'll come back and cover this in a second, but this is the big one. Unreal Engine royalties have been waived on the first $1 million in game revenue. Yeah, so starting today, you could download and use Unreal Engine. So that means Unreal Engine 4.25, kind of 4.x branch. You don't have to wait for Unreal Engine 5 to qualify for this. And as always, except now, royalties are waived on your first $1 million in gross revenue. The new Unreal Engine license terms, which are retroactive to January 1st, 2020, give game developers an unprecedented advantage over other licensing models. For more information, visit our facts. So that is staggering. Basically, if you are making an indie game right now, using Unreal Engine, unless you make $1 million, you pay nothing. And if you make $1 million, I think you'll gladly hand over your 5, 6, or 7%, whatever it is. Wow. So yeah, this one, right now, between Unreal Engine and Unity, especially among smaller indie developers, there's always been the price trade-off thing. And there was a kind of a point where Unity was more practical than Unreal, based off, if your game was a success but not a mega success, it was cheaper to use Unity because you pay per seat over there. And whereas with Unreal Engine, you used to pay something like after $3,000, you had to pay quarterly royalties or something to that effect. Now it is $1 million. That means for 99% of indie developers, you're paying nothing to use Unreal Engine, and you can make up to $1 million. The other announcement here is the Epic Online Services have finally announced. I did a video about them probably about 1.5 years ago. They were announced at GDC, and they were really delayed. They are finally here. These are free to use, which is kind of staggering. So this is for things online like friends, matchmaking, lobbies, achievements, leaderboards, and accounts, all those things they built for Fortnite, while they're making it available for everyone else for free using their SDK. And their SDK actually doesn't limit you to using Unreal Engine. Yes, you can use these with Unity, you can use them with Godot, you can use them with CryEngine, so you can use which ones you want or which ones you don't want, and they're out there for free. I'll probably do a follow-up video on this one. I did a previous video on what this was about in the roadmap. They hit some snags in the road. It took a lot of time to get there, but yeah, the online services have now launched. And finally, let's get to today's minor news. They also announced details about Unreal Engine 5. So first off, there is a trailer out there. I will link this in the linked article down below. So if you want to see it in effect, you can see it running on a PlayStation 5. Lumen in the land of Nanite, a real-time demo running on PlayStation 5. Nanite virtualizes micropolygon geometry, frees artists to create as much geometric detail as the eye can see. Nanite virtualized geometry means that film quality source art comprise hundreds of millions or billions of polygons can be imported directly into Unreal Engine. Anything from ZBrush sculpts to programmetry, photogrammetry scans to CAD data, it just works. Nanite geometry is streamed and scaled in real time, so there's no more polygon count budgets. There is no need to bake details to normal maps or manually author LODs. There's no loss in quality. That's kind of staggering. So in Unreal Engine 5, you're going to be able to use pretty much as much geometry as you want, and the engine is going to do the scaling and the streaming details for you. That's kind of a cool new feature. And then the other one is Lumens, is a fully dynamic global illumination solution that immediately reacts to scene and light changes. System renders diffuse inter-reflection with infinite bounces and indirect, I don't think infinite, because that would just crash, and indirect specular reflections in huge detailed environments at scales ranging from kilometers to millimeters. Artists and designers can create more dynamic scenes using Lumen. For example, changing the sun angle for time of day, turning on a flashlight, blowing a hole in the ceiling. Indirect lighting will adapt accordingly. Lumen erases the need to wait for light map bakes to finish and to author light map UVs, a huge time savings when an artist can move a light inside Unreal Editor and the lighting looks the same as when the game is run on a console. So those are the 2 big things here. Yeah, So that's pretty cool. And of course, they've also showcased their new Chaos Physics Engine and Destruction, their Niagara Particle or VFX system, their new audio stuff. That was all added in Unreal Engine 4.25, which was just released like about a week ago. I did a video on that. If you want to check that out, I will make that available as well. But yeah, so that is where we're looking at Unreal Engine 5. So Unreal Engine 5 is not going to be a game changer release. In fact, you're going to be able to forward port your projects. It's just they gotta go to from 4 to 5 sometime, I guess. So the two things that they're working around are this nanite and this lumen, and both of those seems like they're kind of things that we're currently using hacks or workarounds to deal with. So again, if you don't have to bake your lighting anymore, that's pretty sweet. It's going to really take a lot of time off the developer's hands. And then if you can just literally dump in as much geometry as you want, and nanite will just take care of it, that is going to be really impressive, because a lot of time is spent on multiple LODs and basically just scaling across devices. It'll be interesting to see how well, in fact, nanite actually works. So that is the new announcement. Again, do check out the video. I will link it down below so you can see these things in action. So in terms of what are happening between Unreal Engine 4 and the 5 in the timeline, 4.25 already supports next generation console, so you can develop for PlayStation 5 and Xbox, whatever the hell it's called, Xbox One X. No, I forget what it's called. It's a dumb name, but the new Xbox and the new PlayStation are both supported already with the current version. Unreal Engine 5 will be available in preview early 2021, full release in late 2021. So you're going to keep seeing Unreal 4 for quite a while. But realistically, again, today's big news is that one. That one just blows my mind. That's kind of like a mic drop, to be honest. In terms of indie game developers, I feel bad for Unity today, because that one is you're going to have to look at your business model and go, okay, what now? Because that is a game changer. That is a gigantic, huge, massive game changer right there. So again, we also had the launch of the online services. Again, I'm going to probably do a video on that at a different point in time. So let's not get too strung up into that one there. And then we'll finally look at the Unreal Engine 5 details from the FAQ. When will it be made available? Early 2021 preview. Later in the year it will be released. Do you need it to run to make on next-gen games? Nope. 4.25 already supports next-gen games, but obviously Unreal Engine 5 will support both. Licensing changes? Nope. Can you migrate your project? Yep. And can I find out more? Not yet. Stick around, look at their blog, and that's kind of where they're sitting. So I'm just, I don't know. I'm kind of speechless at this point in time. Again, the announcement of Unreal Engine 5 is awesome. These new technologies, this nanite and this light sourcing stuff, it could be a huge game changer. But the game changer that took effect today, or in fact at the beginning of this year because it's retroactive, is this one. Waiving revenue $1 million. It just kind of... Wow. Anyways, I'm just kind of waiting to hear what you guys' opinion on. You know mine. I can basically sum it up by wow and mic drop, because Unity have to respond to this, because right now, when it came down to a game of top trumps, price was kind of a wash between the two engines. And now, if you're an indie developer, picking one over the other just became a heck of a lot harder, just due to that $1 million in difference there. $1 million. Again, that is probably 99% of indie developers are never going to have to pay a cent and can still make up to $1 million. And again, those that don't, or they exceed that number and they made more than $1 million, I bet you they're okay with that. So anyways, that is today's news. Unreal, yeah, you're named well today. That announcement was unreal. So let me know what you think, comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.